Be still. Okay. So, Kristen, tell me about that one.
It's something that I've not been most of my life. So, I think it wasn't until, probably 5 or 6 years ago that I started thinking more on it. You know how you translate scriptures in your own mind? I think for a really long time, delight yourself in the Lord and He'll give you the desires of your heart was like, I'm going to get everything I want. This is going to be good. And it wasn't until later in life I was like, oh wait, He's going to place the right ones in there. I think that I always had this idea, and when I talk about this evolving, I've had it for a few years now, and I think that, the be still aspect is what was echoing through my heart at the time and going through, years of brokenness, whether self-inflicted or or put on me in different ways. But I think that when you think about, an outcry, mine was for stillness and peace. And I'll cry. Or I am crying, but I think getting to a guttural place with the Lord and understanding, who I am in Him, He gifted me someone else that knows me. And so it's so special to have His handwriting, because from, just a earthly partnership, He stills me. And so
Sounds like it's not just your tattoo. Sounds like it's y'all's, but maybe even broader than that, because your dad, and it sounds like it's a community tattoo.
It really feels like a community, or people have taken it on for sure. And I think that I'm always mindful to not, it's not one I want covered. I have one that is covered that was just for me, through a really big season of brokenness, another one. And it's just the outline of a dove with an olive branch, and just a sign of new covenant, and how we continue to mess things up and the Lord continues to meet us and make things new. And I was on tour with the Sound of Music, and I stopped in Cleveland, Ohio, and it was just a great awakening. And I remember being like, my friend was getting a tattoo and I just went with him, and it hit me. And I remember looking at all the pictures of, the butterflies and, the letters and the Chinese symbols, and it just hit me, and I just wanted to place like a marking on me. And I remember the guy being like, do you want like the Dove soap dove, or do you want like the hymnal dove? And so we had to do this whole like working out thing of what kind of dove I had in my mind. But and just that, the Lord through, Noah just sending out, hoping to find something to land on, that, it was a sign of hope, and just that there's hope after storms. So
does the dove with the olive branch, did that tattoo point to this one down the road? I hear the reaching out for that someplace to land. When you're in a time of your life where it was like on to the next, you're looking for somewhere to land. Did you land with that?
It has to be the landing. There's no way this cannot be the landing, because everything about that season of life, while I thought I had it figured out and I thought this would be the new covenant, like, hey, Kristen, I've got this. Let me show you what I have for you, which is true. But if you think about it, it was 20 years later. And so, and there was a lot of other things in those 20 years. And so I think ultimately, I think it is a landing. And I guess I've connected, the hope of healing and the hope of things to come in the connection of it. I don't think it hit me how I was crying out during that, because I don't think I really was walking with the Lord. I knew Him. I knew of Him. But I wasn't meeting Him at all. And so to see that even in a time of darkness, that my spirit was still in a knowledge of what I had known of him, kind of trying to cry out for a peace that I didn't know how to get to, because it was after I got this tattoo that, you know, things erupted. But I think it does point ultimately to it, because peace and hope, and, you know, we throw those words around, faith and love and peace and hope in our world so recklessly that we have no concept of truly what it means. And the only place we can find that is in the Lord, and the only place that we can find that is through stillness and meeting him. And I think that's what's special about the quarantine, is that people are being forced to be still. Just about how, if we can still, you know, not just be thinking about the next Netflix binge and the next show that we're going to watch or something, even in our homes, we can still be thinking about, you know, what's next? Let's keep ourselves going. And there's a reason why it says his voice is still and small. And if everything else is so loud, there's just no way to hear. And so to understand true peace and to understand hope, and to choose faith and to choose trust in the Lord in these times, it has to come, it has to be from stillness. It just has to be.
Mine is more of a, so I've been a musician since, I mean, it's in my family. Probably started when I was a kid. We had a piano in the house. My dad had an old classical guitar, and he and Mom would sing in the choir at church. That was where I learned how to sing. But I would sit around, and he would teach me the 2 or 3 chords he knew. I had 2 older brothers. We all ended up playing guitar. I learned piano, and I played violin for about 2 years, and that was a screechy mess. But
I didn't know that.
I did. No, I would practice, and the Cocker Spaniel would sit there and howl with me until I learned how to play bluegrass, and then I just got, you know, interested. I thought, you know, girls like guitar, so I had to learn guitar, you know, when I got to a certain age. But anyway, we always had that music in our house. So part of that kind of is because I think that's been in my way to, you know, she knows me, I'm not a super talkative guy when it comes to just normal, you know, just like sharing a lot. But I've grown in a lot of ways in that way with her, because I got to meet her in the middle.
Or I'm literally talking to me.
But music has been the way that I have expressed myself in writing and singing and performing. So obviously the guitar is somewhat that, but more the clef and the heartbeat that's inside of the guitar really represent that for me being, you know, something that has been an integral part of me. And I know that my gifts have been given to me from the beginning. I know that they were given to me by God. And I know that even though I've always, and throughout my youth in choir, in some way, I've always tried to find ways to serve with music in the church. And I've done it many different places, many different ways. But I've also served myself with it by, you know, going out and playing. And I played bars. Now I'm kind of a wedding singer. I sing Led Zeppelin for a big group and act like an idiot in front of people.
I love that.
And
It's really good.
But
really good.
So other than that, so it's really kind of represents a little bit of the importance of music in my life, you know, for me.
Sure.
When we talk about an outcry and why people are painting and imprinting these messages on their body, it's an outcry from within. And so when we think about how it can so easily turn into a therapy session, because it's what everyone's essentially craving, is to be heard and to be known and to be someone. And if your knowledge and your worth and it's not tied up in him, then it's just wild.